Hi, my name is Shauna Nicholson, and I am a education and employment specialist here with the SEED program. Today we have an assistant principal here with us. I will further let him introduce himself.
Hey, my name is Lazaro Edwards. I am an assistant principal at St. Anthony's High School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, near the airport. I'm here to talk about my pathway to becoming assistant principal and hopefully president of my organization.
All right, we have a few questions here that we would like to ask you. So, how long have you been in your worker field?
So I've been in education for about 8 years now. I was a teacher for 5 years, and then I became an assistant principal 2 years ago. Actually, 6 years teaching, 2 years as an assistant principal, and this is just my third year this fall. So getting into my third year, and I really love it. I love working in education.
It's wonderful. What led you to being a principal, an assistant principal?
So I've always had a passion for education. I went back to this middle school that I attended when I was a senior in high school, looking for work during a summer program, and that's when I really started to realize that I enjoyed working with our youth and being a role model for our kids in the inner city. So that's what really got me, interested. I also had some really great teachers that had a big impact on me that made me want to go to college because they pushed me a lot during high school, and that was a time when I really wasn't sure with what I wanted to do in the future. So after about my first year in college, I didn't do so well, and I started thinking about, what was I interested in? Because I originally wanted to go for journalism, but it didn't work out for me. I wasn't really interested in those classes, and I started taking a lot of things in history. And then I realized, hey, I want to be a history teacher, like a great role model that I had at Monkey School of Languages. So that got me into teaching. That made me take those classes and get interested in it. I had to take an alternative certification program to become a teacher, actually. So that was a little weird. I had to teach and get my master's degree. But after about 4 years in teaching, I started thinking about, hey, what's my next move? And then I wanted to move up. So that's what made me go back and pursue my license in my license in leadership, and that's what made me want to become a principal or move into administration.
Awesome. What barriers did you face in getting to that?
I think one of the first barriers that I faced when I was just trying to, get accustomed to college was not having anybody in my family who I felt comfortable talking with that went through the college process. When I first got there, I tried to do everything on my own, and I kind of kept to myself. That made it real difficult because I needed help. I didn't know what classes I needed to take. I didn't know what classes I needed to get or to fulfill my major. I didn't take Spanish classes at UWM because I was kind of sick of Spanish, but I ended up getting a free semester of college after I realized, and I learned the game. So one barrier was just like not having anybody that I felt really cared about me, and I didn't really have a lot of trust in my advisor at college as well. I needed someone more to be on top of me rather than me like reaching out. I wasn't, I didn't know how to advocate for myself. And then the second thing was I had a child when I was 20 years old, which really, you know, made it difficult because I had to juggle a bunch of things in my schedule and work and support the kid and finish college at the same time. So those are a couple barriers that I felt got in my way.
Where did you get your degree, your certification from?
So I got my degree. I got a degree in history, major in history, and a minor in Spanish from UWM, University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. But I've gone to many schools. I went to UWM. I went to MATC for a little bit because I wasn't doing so well, and returned to UWM and finished. Then I got my certification for teaching from Alverno College. Most people think, it's just a school for girls, but there's a graduate program there where men are allowed to attend. So I got my master's in elementary education. So I was licensed from first grade to eighth grade in all subjects. And then I went back to MSOE and I got my certification, my principal license through MSOE. They have like an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration, and a principal license. And I did that there.
Good. Did anything about your journey surprise you?
Um, yeah, definitely. I would say one thing that my grandpa always told me when I was younger, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I, have a lot of education. I learned a lot, but when I really was able to have my most success is when I got involved in organizations that put me around people that could help me out and that were going through the same things that I was going through. So when I first graduated from UWM, I didn't even have a teaching degree. So I technically couldn't go in to be a teacher unless somebody gave me a chance, and I entered into a alternative certification program. So what I did was I went and I asked at my old middle school, hey, can I be a teaching assistant? Because I got a degree, I could like do some subbing or figure something out, get some experience. Mm-hmm. And then the principal, he told me, hey, there's this program, it's called Teach for America. I got in that program. There's like 60,000 applicants a year, 5,000 make it. They send you out to Chicago to teach summer school right away. It was scary, I was nervous, I almost didn't go because I was so nervous, but it ended up being great because the person who hired me for the assistant principal job turned out to be someone that I met through Teach for America. And through Teach for America, I've had opportunities to travel. I was able to go to the Congressional Black Caucus in Washington, D.C. I've been to a bunch of different leadership opportunities all over San Francisco, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, a bunch of places. And it was all because of that. And now I have a big pool of like people I know that I can reach out to if I need teachers at my school, if I got questions, if I need to talk to another principal about their systems that they have at their school. It's great because now I have all these people that I've met and known, and it's really awesome to be a part of that group. And it really validated what my grandpa said about it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Is there anything you would do different?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. There's nothing that I would do different. I think that I grew a lot through the struggles that I had, and without those things, I'm not sure that I would be in the same place. I'm very happy where I'm at right now. I'm 33 years old. I am a vice principal, and I see myself, in the next 2 years. I made a commitment to do 5 years at my school right now, and then look for another challenge. So I'm looking to be a principal in about 2 years, and then after that, I hope to one day return to St. Anthony's as the president. That's my vision, that's my goal. I talked with the president about that, that's something that I'm looking into doing in the future, and I think that I'm on the right trajectory. So I wouldn't change anything. I think all those experiences that I had molded me into who I am right now, and I'm just very grateful.
Explain and review a day in the life of your career.
So my main responsibility is to coach teachers. So to be real, it's difficult because a lot of our teachers, they have a vision of what they feel school should be like. But it goes a little bit bigger than that. There's about 30 teachers in our school. I'm responsible for observing them and giving them feedback, and sometimes giving them the feedback is difficult because they do deal with a lot, and they want to be validated for the things they're doing. But at the same time, we got to remember that it's our kids that we are focused on. And sometimes teachers can give students work that's too easy for them, or they can believe that students are not capable of doing certain type of work. And that's why I'm in this profession, so that I can, help mold good teachers that are going to challenge our kids.
Absolutely.
Because our kids deserve to have a good education. They deserve to be challenged, and I don't want them to arrive at high school in the way I did, having this like false sense of security, and where I thought that I was where I needed to be. When I took my placement test, I realized I was behind in English and I was behind in math. Had to take remedial classes, which was discouraging. And I want our kids to be ready for college. I want them to have those same experiences as white people are having in the suburbs. So, yeah. So when we're talking about like my day, a lot of it consists of kids. The kids are the ones that keep me motivated. They're the ones that make me smile, make me happy about my job. So in the morning, I get there about 7:15 in the morning. I'm greeting students, making sure that the hallways are clear once the first bell rings, and then we have our first set of announcements. I always give students like an update on how I think things are going, things we need to improve on in the school, and give shout outs to them. Throughout the day, I have meetings or I go to observations. I observe teachers, take notes on them, and then I set up a debrief meeting where we talk and I give them a coaching goal. So, for example, there was a teacher today who was teaching about, this is in U.S. history class, he was talking about government and checks and balances and like what these situations, who's in charge of this? Does this link in with the federal government? Does this link in with the judicial branch or the legislative branch? And one thing that I noticed in his classroom today was he did really, really well with his model and showing kids how he did it, but he didn't give kids a chance to discuss and give them a chance to help each other out, because there was a kid who got one wrong, and instead of him asking the kids and bouncing questions to them, he asked them, instead of him bouncing the questions back to them and having them uncover it, he tried to answer the questions for them. And that's one thing I want our teachers to do better. I want them to question the kids and get the kids speaking and give them the floor instead of dominating the floor for like 30 to 40 minutes. At the end of the day, I stop by and lunch. I help kids out during that time. My door's always open. I have meetings about, some of our goals at the school. And then, dismissal. So then I dismiss the kids, make sure they're not driving crazy in the parking lot and stuff like that.
Good. Have any questions for him?
Oh, no, I didn't know. But which one? I'm sorry. Which one is this in?
What is the passion and the interest that drives you for this career?
I would say the passion of just like helping our youth out and being a good role model for the kids. I think it's important for them to see like a man of color, and I think it's really cool to see them like as a young guy, because in the school system, from my experience, the majority of teachers are white, so it's kind of difficult for them to connect with our inner city students. Not saying that they can't do it, but some of them want the kids to change for them instead of them to change for the kids. And I think, that's a big thing. I've seen like a ton of great white teachers, but I think that we need more people of color and more people from our community to work with our kids, because they have a lot of the same experiences and the kids will respect hearing their stories.
All right. Thank you so much, the assistant principal of St. Anthony's. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.